Hi guys, I got a story I'm going to read to you guys. I thought we'd go back to the good old days. Let's go back to, let's say, the 1930s. Long before my time, but I still remember doing stuff like this. Stuff like what, you may ask? Well, remember with me kitchen kettles. Last summer, my Colorado-born wife, Lou, rescued a carafe from an auction box of collectibles I flagged down. I say rescue because we really didn't have any use for it, or so I thought, since we'd already acquired an old $20 copper kettle for show in the house. Yet Lou maintained she could employ the carafe, complete with heating plate, in a practical sense. She needed something like that to heat water for instant coffee on wash day when the tank in our trailer can't keep pace. Besides, she added pointedly, it looks cute. Well, I've learned there's no husbandly defense against such a statement as that. So home it went. Naturally, even before I could be served something to eat, Lou had to try it out. A red glow responded instantly. She filled the carafe, and we both sat down to watch the glass pot boil. Everyone knows that takes forever. Consequently, I had time, as little bubbles formed, to marvel at how important kettles had been years ago. Kitchen varieties held around a gallon back in the early 30s. They came equipped with wooden handles to prevent burned hands. This was a fine idea if the handler remembered to lay the handle horizontally rather than leave it upright, where escaping steam could be absorbed. I've made that mistake, and it hurts. Kettles were heated on coal, kerosene, and wood-burning stoves. Iron, copper, and aluminum were the main choices of manufacturers. My mom's were composed of the latter two metals. My life began with kettles. I had to be bathed. When I crawled out of the baby stage, my parents confronted me with the legendary Saturday night body cleanup. Every week they rolled out the big iron tub in the middle of the kitchen near the stove. After 2 kettles of ice-cold water had been poured in, 2 more had to be heated. These were added at smoking temperatures, but the mixed result was always too hot for me and had to be cooled down. My mom supervised this cooling process permanently after once hearing I needed more hot again. Our drinking water proved to be a bigger problem. My dad had dug a surface well in the backyard. Most of our neighbors had pumps. We evidently couldn't afford one. Therefore, the top of the well was covered with metal sheeting held in place by a stone. This, I was told, kept the skunks out. Ugh. Whatever, every morning, Mom would go down to the well, remove the layers of protection, and haul up a pail of the precious liquid. Every morning, that is, until she locked eyes with a harmless garter snake. I don't know which of the two received the greater scare. My mom threw the pail in the air and ran to the house. The snake ran to wherever snakes run and was never seen again. Mom wasn't going to take the chance of this happening a second time, however. She passed the chore to my dad. Therefore, every drop of water was kettle boiled until the city piped it to our street. Of course, I didn't endear myself timing my thirsts to these boilings. Just before retiring for the night, we'd heat a supply for the hot water bottles An uninsulated bedroom in a house without central heating can become mighty chilly in a whistling wind. One kettleful would take care of both rubber warming aids. A hot water bottle wasn't something I wanted. Had I been allowed to choose, I would have picked wearing more clothes. These things could burn your feet before you fell asleep and freeze them into dumbness upon your awakening. And you haven't lived unless you've gone to bed with a leaking hot water bottle. I soon discovered Mondays meant rituals of hard work for my mom. Her washing machine consisted of a scrub board and a folding, open-top table centered by a wringer. On each side had to be placed a tub of water. One was for rinsing, that could be cold. The other, designated for soap and scrubbing, had to be hot, which translated into at least 3 heated kettlefuls. Since the kerosene stove was upstairs and the washstand cellar-bound, this demanded 3 trips up and down steep wooden stairs. The trick was to get through the wash before the water cooled too much. It often did when the wash was big. Then there'd be a 12-minute wait while more water boiled. The kettles had to be timed. Those periods couldn't be wasted resting. There were too many other things to do, like wringing out rinsed articles and hanging them on the clothesline. Now and then, as summer wore on, the kitchen would be minus a kettle. My dad frequently borrowed one to fill up the car radiator. He wasn't above stuffing the kettle spout and taking the quantity of water with him either. He'd had bad experiences on long trips in the heat. Growing up brought my turn with the family kettles. How could I know that the fun I was helping Mom wash dishes was actually practice preparing me to take over the whole nasty job indefinitely? At any rate, to ensure as much playtime as possible, I'd get the kettle going before eating supper. This head start enabled me to roll up my sleeves immediately following the last mouthful of dessert. Up to my elbows in suds, I'd encourage my folks to go into the living room. No, I wasn't afraid of a dish and bowl inspection. What concerned me was the chance they'd increasingly greasy water and order a fresh kettle heated. I couldn't make up lost minutes of leisure. By this date, our financial means had improved, permitting us to own a gas stove. Once my 2 full kettle plus my too big of a hurry doused the flames. Fortunately, my mom's keen nose smelled the fumes all the way from the porch, where we ate in warm weather. Hard on the heels of a severe chastisement, I was asked how I'd like being blown to blazes. I didn't think I'd retain any opinion under those circumstances, but I didn't see the wisdom of mentioning this. Later, I thought of helping my mom by watering her newly planted vegetable garden. I didn't assume there was any difference between the kettle spout of that and of a watering can, not until it had been partially explained to me how the seeds had been washed away by the power of the kettle. I can't recall my mom repairing the damage. Perhaps she was hoping her efforts hadn't been totally washed out. At season's end, any such hopes were dashed. Nothing came up, including weeds. In 1954, with the exception of a tiny tea kettle, we consigned that others to the basement. We had electric washing machines upstairs, too. Centralized electric heat and hot water and an electric stove. We sure didn't need them anymore. Why don't we get rid of those things? I'd ask disgustedly whenever we cleaned the cellar. Whether it was because of sentiment or the depression-bred habit of saving everything, I'm not sure, but my parents couldn't provide me with a satisfactory reason for holding on to these kettles. Hurricane Carol striking our state vigorously that August provided me a resounding one. Carol blew over electrical power away Down the stairs we went. We dusted off the little kerosene stove and lovely smack Kettles. Yes, there was a good Kettle memories. I want you to know that. They're not all related to drudgery. In fact, one of my homiest is associated with my dad. He loved his cup of tea brewed from loose tea leaves. Before my mom could make it for him, the water had to be boiling in the kettle. Many the cold day and night when company is coming in from the blustery winds, his first call would be, "Put the kettle on," and only then would come his "Hi, anything happened today? And what's there to eat?" He drank his tea like that until he passed away. At last, as I reminisced, the water in the carafe boiled. Lou poured, activating the instant coffee. Would my dad have accepted boiling water from a modern appliance? I don't know. I'm guessing he'd feel rather out of place without his kettle. I wish I could put it on for him now. My dad would be surprised to learn that the kitchen kettle is now a collectible, especially kettles made of hammered copper and having brass or wooden handles. Prices vary about the country and may run anywhere from $18 in the East to 40 or 50 elsewhere. Prices fluctuate according to the market and the availability, but the good old kitchen kettle is prized by many modern-day hostesses. And that was Remember With Me Kitchen Kettles by Alan Sanderson. So I hope you guys enjoyed going back to the 1930s with me and enjoying the memories of our kitchen kettles. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday night. Bye guys. God bless.